nice to you.
Let's put the flowers on Nancy's side.
Oh, that's okay.
Or just all of it.
I have this.
And let's put the biggest on this one. Put all of these on that side. I get the chocolate. Fair trade.
So if you're new to the lineage, or to the Sangha, that's prostrating is something that we do in our lineage, and if you don't feel comfortable with it, please don't do it. It's not a mandatory thing. It's something that, for me personally, when I prostrate, it's not that I'm prostrating to anything outer. I'm making a mental imprint in my mind, right? And I'm saying, kind of like out with suffering, and I'm prostrating to a future self, a future enlightened self, or a Lama, which are synonymous, right? So you can kind of just do what you're comfortable with, and we won't judge you at all, okay?
And the three gestures is body, speech, and mind. So you're saying, you're prostrating to the body, speech, and mind of a Buddha, and that is your future self, So you're generating the wish before we even do anything. Before we introduce ourselves, then we at least recognize that anything we say is going to be just for that one reason. Right?
And then we also traditionally do these prayers. Do we have them in the binders, Teddy?
No, actually.
No?
They're not in the reading.
Okay, so we'll print some out for next time. If you're not familiar with the prayers, then just just generate in your mind something like some sort of good intention, for the class, and then that will be a good kind of seed to plant before we start the class.
So, and the first prayer, just a real simple way to talk about it, it's a mandala offering, and it's like in your mind, you create a perfect universe where all of your loved ones and everybody's totally happy, and they have everything they ever wished for, and all the conditions are perfect, and you create it in your mind, and then you offer it. You offer it to the Lord, you offer it to your teacher, right? And then the second one is you're really making a wish that everything you do in this class, everything you hear about, all the thoughts that you have, any questions you might ask, hopefully not, will lead towards the ultimate happiness of everything. Right?
Samye Shindu Mite Wadi Drokunanda Shingla Jupasho Nidanu Kamiratayami Chudam Suki Chudnamba Tanshu Pardu Dakni Kapsuchi Daki Chinyengi Pe Sunanki Drola Venture Sangye Drupasho Chudam Suki Chudnamba Tanshu Pardu Dakni Kapsuchi Daki Chinyengi Pe Sunanki Drola Venture Sangye Drupasho Chudam Suki Chudnamba Tanshu Pardu Dakni Kapsuchi Daki Chinyengi Pe Sunanki Drola Venture Sangye Drupasho.
So we'll briefly introduce ourselves, or each other. So this is Nancy Allen, and she's this incredible, beautiful woman, obviously. And I can honestly say that most, if not all, of my best qualities all come from her.
You used to say all.
I was thinking my mom. My mom's really cool. And she's a yoga teacher and teaches Tibetan Buddhist philosophy, and she's in acupuncture school. So she's the smart one. So any tough questions that you have, ask her. And I'm just honored. Yeah, I'm just honored to. I'll try to. I'm here to be next to her, so she is not up here alone. But really, she's the jewel in this. We didn't rehearse this, so.
This is Ori Carino, and he's a really great teacher for this class because he's been sort of brought up with the teachings. His mom is Nancy Karen, and she's like, she's facilitated many, many beautiful teachings all these years. She's one of the longest time students of Geshe Michael Roach, and she also studied with Ken Rinpoche and Geshe Wangyal, which was one of the older lamas that came to the U.S. through Washington, New Jersey, and he had a monastery there. So there's like all these amazing teachings that Ori was exposed to from a really, really young age. So it's kind of like in his blood. And I'm really blessed to get to be with Ori all the time because it's like a constant, just like reminder all the time of worldview. He has a really unshakable worldview. And he's also a painter, a really incredible painter. And he's a really amazing dad.
That's the one thing that's good.
And yeah, so we're really, really happy to see you guys again. We thought about you a lot. I know I did, especially like during retreat. Like you just were with me every single day. And so we're really happy to see you again. And then for those that we don't know yet, we're really excited that you're here too. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, we're so honored that you're here, and we're so honored at the opportunity to, from our side, you're giving us a chance to deepen our practice and to learn the material better, and we really thank you for the opportunity. It's a real honor, to talk about these things.
Yeah, this class is awesome. So let's meditate. So just find a nice comfortable seat where you can have a straight spine. And try to relax anything that you might feel like you're tensing up, like your throat, maybe your jaw, your shoulders, maybe your belly. And then just focus your mind at the tip of your nose. And just try to make the mind a sharp point there where you feel the warm air exiting and the cool air coming in. So there's some noise in your mind right now. You have to ask yourself how badly you want to get to the object. So in order to do that, you must remember why you're sitting here. Why do you say you want to meditate? Bring someone to mind that you know is suffering. Place them before you. Right now, the way things are, you can't help them. If you can't hold your mind at the tip of your nose, how are you going to save them? Look into their eyes. And make them a promise that you're going to work hard in this course for them. And you'll harness your distractible mind for them. To the room. So, another thing I wanted to say before we start is that us being able to sit here and teach this has nothing to do with us being experts in any way, or me, I'm speaking to myself. I'm perfected these teachings. I'm not, in any way saying that, but I have received really, really perfect instructions from my lamas, and they asked us to teach. So, we're fulfilling their request. And so our holy lamas are in a silent retreat right now, and they've been in retreat since January of this year, and they're coming out in April of 2014. And before they left, they took years preparing to leave and to be away for 3 years in this retreat. And part of their preparation was giving us everything that we would need. You know, they've given us beautiful instructions on the entire path. And so I've gotten to watch them over the years, and you know, in watching them, it's like this great blessing of learning the whole path just by example. You know, and to see the way that they interact with the world and with each other is just phenomenal. You know, they never waver in anything. They're just like, they have such conviction, such like unshakable conviction about the teachings. They just have no doubt. You know, that everything they do from morning until night is for others. And it's incredible to watch that. Like, they never wasted a moment. They never would waste a word even. You know, when I would sit with Loma James, I would always feel mute because his words are so precious to him that when I would speak a word that was just idle, I'd feel it, you know, in my body. And I just never wanted to waste a word like they did, you know, like they never did. And so that's just such a beautiful thing to see, right? And I always wondered, like, you know, why is it that the rest of us are not that way? Why the distraction? Why the wavering? You know, and maybe you've observed this, that when your lamas, when your teachers are away, maybe your practice degenerates a little bit, or at least the intensity dissipates. Or maybe you've observed that when things are going really well in your life, you are really distracted by the busyness of your life, and you know, the belief in the busyness of your life, and your practice becomes sort of half-assed. Or even, you know, during the rough patches, like maybe you have a rough patch, and then after that you emerge from the rough patch and you think, okay, now I'm really going to redouble my efforts in these teachings. You know, so then you have this little spurt of raising the intensity again, and you dedicate yourself to the teachings again. So it's like this fluctuation, you know, and then even you'll hear yourself say these things like, I know it's coming from me, but, you know, or I know it's empty, but ... mental affliction, right? And what is that? You know, what is, if you really knew it was empty, there would be no but. There would be no question. And I see this in my lamas. They never worried about a thing. They were never ever worried about anything. They never complained about a thing, a person, or a situation. Never. Because they understood truly where everything was coming from, and they knew how to change it based on that. And so there was never any fear. There's never any fear if you have emptiness, if you have wisdom. You know what to do in every moment. You know how to change your reality. So what's holding us back is doubt, right? There must be some doubt. And until we see emptiness directly, there's doubt. There's going to be doubt. So that's what this course is really about. It's about erasing, it's about confronting that doubt and proving through analysis in as deep a state of meditation as you can, getting to that conviction that they have. And then there's no worry. Then it's just upward spiral.
So we're studying this book, but to us it's not, you know, to us Tibetan Buddhists, to us Tibetans, you know, it's not really like a book, you know, it's like a being. It's somebody that can speak to you, you know. The main text we're studying is by Master Kamalasiva, and when he wrote the text down, he gave the teaching to go with it. And the teaching was like this key that unlocked it. So unlock the actual text, so that when you open this book, then it can speak to you. And there's this amazing story about Jetsun Kappa, and he found this really rare, special book in Tibet called the Tenrin Chenmo, and it's the stages of the path of the teachings. And when he got this book, he dressed it up. He dressed it up. He put special like cloth on it, and he put it up on this what is it called? When the guys carry it, a palanquin, and they carried it in this procession. It was like treated as a lama. And then when they got to his residence, he carefully took it out and he brought it up to his room and he put it up on the throne, not on the altar. And he made offerings to it and he requested that he would be allowed to open it. And that's like what this book is for us, and we would never put it on the floor. We would never sit on it or use it as a paperweight or something. And when you open it, when you read the words, you'll see, and for those of us who have been studying for a while, it will speak to you, and to every single person, it's going to say something different, And in regards to our teaching, our lamas requested that we study this material in the proper way. And when we studied this material with them, it affected both of us in a profound way, and we followed the instructions to the best of our ability. So they requested that we teach. But that's kind of where it ends. We can work hard, and we can give the transmission, but all of the realizations that you're going to have are going to come from inside you. We can't give you anything really. It's due to your virtue that you'll hear holy wisdom, that you'll read it, that you'll realize it directly, So it's up to you, So the main text that we're studying was written to settle a debate. And how do you become enlightened? And what is enlightenment? How would you achieve enlightenment anyway? So let's talk a little bit about enlightenment. These are just ground level things to cover so that we can enter into the subject of the course. So there's two sides to enlightenment. One side is the complete absence of mental and physical afflictions. Okay, so no more pain. All right. The other side is achieving all knowledges. This is knowing exactly what it is that leads to suffering and exactly what it is that leads to happiness. So you know what to give up and what to take. And at that point, you really know how to help other beings. Then you're fulfilling your highest potential to help others. And it's because none of us want others to yell at us. None of us like it when people dislike us or judge us negatively. None of us like the pain and the suffering of this life. None of us like the suffering world. And if you really look at how things are going in life, we're going towards this end result. Every single human being comes to die. And we don't know when that's going to happen. And we're barreling through. And everything we care about and everyone we love is being torn away from us. And it's happening moment by moment. It's happening day by day. It's happening month by month. It's happening year by year. Okay? We're experiencing so many deaths, and we're experiencing so many afflicted states of mind, and we're experiencing so much suffering. And this constant moment-to-moment self-cherishing where we're obsessively trying to fulfill our own needs and while ignoring the needs of others. This is a special kind of suffering. You know, this is a special kind of lonely suffering. And I think all of us at one time or another have felt the effect of this kind of habitual, ingrained approach to life, you know? Then no matter what you do, no matter how well you cope with all of that, you know, no matter what distractions that you throw yourself into, then you're still facing old age, sickness, and death. And that's why they say that life is suffering, because it's infected with this disease. You see? So this is a broken realm, okay? This is a broken realm where you play the lottery for 80 years and then you die. And worst case, maybe you win the lottery. You know, I saw a documentary about lottery winners, 100 million, 200 million. Horrible, horrible, horrible stories. Horrible things happen. It's unbelievable. Maybe the most lighthearted story, a woman lives in Florida. She collects beach shells and tchotchkes. And then she wins the lottery and bigger house, millions of shells and tchotchkes. Like, it's totally broken. You know, we say that licking honey off of the edge of a razor blade, you cannot call that happiness. Alright, you cannot call that fulfillment. Actually, it's suffering. Okay? But there's a catch, right? And the catch is suffering is a caused thing. Okay, there's a cause to suffering. If you take away the cause, if you identify the cause and you eliminate the cause, then you eliminate suffering. If you take away the cause, then there's no more suffering. And here in this course, and in life hopefully, you know, then we're here to study a crystal clear path how to do that. You know, how to remove all of the seeds for suffering. You know? So this is Bok Jinpa, right? So we've been on a trajectory. Master Kamala Shila, this is a masterpiece, you know. What is it called? What's the Gompe Rinpa in Tibetan, right? The steps or stages of meditation. This is the greatest masterpiece of all time written on meditation, period. You know, it's in the Lamrim Chenmo, that's their referencing, and the portion of the Lamrim Chenmo on meditation, they're talking about Master Kamala Shila. If His Holiness the Dalai Lama is talking about meditation, he's referring to Master Kamala Shila. Most of the schools of meditation that developed in Tibet, Mongolia, China, Southeast Asia, came from this voyage that Master Kamala Shila took from India into Tibet, okay, to settle this debate. And what was the key? See, Master Kamala Shila is so smart because he doesn't want you to just sit down and try with no fuel, you know. So first thing he does is give you the key to meditation. What was the key? Okay, Maha Karuna, right? It means great compassion. Great compassion is the key to meditation. Okay? One practical thing. Go and try and get upset all day and have arguments and then go and see and try and meditate. Your mind is like this. You know, it's like just splashing the water and then trying to look through. You know, the dust is everywhere. The sediment. So what was the definition of great compassion?
That you would look on every being and see them as your only child?
No.
No?
I mean, that's, you know, that's a...
It's beautiful.
But that it's... So great compassion, right?
There's nothing we wouldn't do to can't stop suffering, you know?
Much closer, yeah. It's you wouldn't hesitate to give up any pleasure or to take on any pain in order to bring another being to their highest happiness, to their ultimate evolution. Okay? So how do you get great compassion? You know? First of all, obvious, it's about ending this everyday pull, right? To get annoyed, to get angry, to judge others negatively, to act unkindly even to yourself, right? Bottom line. You know, and as someone who's developing great compassion so they can enter into the deep realizations in meditation, it's a heroic mission. It's a heroic mission, and the hero can't possibly undertake the mission if he or she isn't working to save somebody, right? And if there's not a problem that really needs fixing. So we're here to end suffering for ourselves and for other beings, and that's the only reason we're here, right? That makes this gathering really special, you know, because even just to get together, how often does that happen? And that's all we're going to talk about for the entire course. How is it that we're going to save other beings from suffering? You know? So we have to know what suffering is, you know. So there's 3 kinds of suffering. You know, so what was the first kind of suffering?
Suffering of suffering.
Okay, so the first was suffering of suffering. It's the pain of pain. You know, it's mental and physical pain. So then we have to test. We have to test, yeah. Has anybody here, you know, in the past 5 days had any mental or physical pain? Okay, so there. First one is true, you know. So what is the second kind of suffering?
Suffering from change.
The suffering of change.
Hey, someone decided to leave.
So this is like this is the suffering we undergo when things run out, when our things run out, when relationships run out, when good relationships go bad, when business relationships go bad, even our own life, right? Even our own body, you know, getting old or whatever might happen, you know. So the question, has anybody here experienced the suffering of change in the past month? You know? So it's true, right? So what's the third kind of suffering? Right? Pervasive suffering. And this is like all the time we're acting out with this infected understanding, and then we're getting infected results. And we're always looking to the next moment to make us happy. You know? You can hear it a million times over. You know, someone, oh, I wanted to have lots of money, big career, big house, big car, hot wife, whatever, you know, and they get all those things, there's no fulfillment, you know, because it's not gonna make you happy. It's still suffering. It's still this all-pervasive suffering. You know, you're not in stillness. You're just chasing. You're chasing this lure. It's fancy. It's sparkly. But when you catch it, it's just a hook. It's just a hook. You know?
They've been doing this for years. When we took this class, they were doing this.
The mind.
The
Loudest
mind.
So are these sufferings real? You know? Are they everywhere? Are they everywhere? You know? And are they pervasive? You know? The problem is real. It's enormous, and it's killing you. Okay? So the entire first course, and it was a very hard course, because all you do is look at suffering. And you have to really bring all of your good heart and motivation, because it's very painful. It's something that we don't want to look at. But if we don't open our hearts, and we continue to look at other people like they're totally other than ourselves, then we're never going to have the virtue to see how things work. We're never going to have the virtue to gain wisdom in our hearts. So get into this habit. Get in this habit in your everyday life. If you need something, it means I need something. When you hear someone, when you see someone need something, just think, I need something. Because we need to work against this habitual noise. This habitual noise in our mind that's telling us to disregard the needs of others and to serve ourselves. Total ignorance. It's like stumbling around in the darkness, you know. And on top of that, now we have this opportunity to study this incredible tradition. These people, if they're people, who knows who they are? These masters, they live on this planet. They dedicate every single minute of every day to other people. At least we can make an effort to be worthy of their teaching. You know, at least we can make an effort to be worthy. You know? And what would be the purpose of them to give you the antidote to suffering if you're not even willing to use it? You know, what a waste. You know what I mean? So with highest virtue, we gain wisdom. And when you come to understand reality, you know, when you come to have deeper and deeper perceptions of ultimate reality, then every kind of happiness is available to you. Because you know what to do to create the different kinds of happiness. You know what to do. It's always going to be about serving other people. So anytime you're getting down on yourself, you know, you're procrastinating, you're getting lazy, or you're feeling depressed or whatever, it's because you forgot the mission. You know, just think of others. Lama James just did the thing. Circle. He said, thinking of others in the circle, right? He said, thinking of others. See this circle? If you're in the circle, you're creating happiness. If you're outside of the circle, you're creating suffering. It's so simple. It's really hard. I'm always outside of the circle, you know, but it's true, you know. Then, you know, Lama James, he said, you know, it's the people that didn't see it as ordinary. It's the people that didn't think of it as a hobby. You know, it's the people that thought that they were getting the cure to cancer that had the deep realizations. That's how serious these people took. You know, the more serious it is. The Buddha's a doctor. He's giving you medicine. That's all he can do is give it to you. Whether you take it or not is up to you. You know? And then when you are serious, then you're gonna study it. You're gonna study it. And then you're gonna debate it. And then you're gonna meditate on it. And then when you go out into the world, you're gonna act on all of your realizations. If you don't have the conviction from those realizations and meditation, it's very easy to slip. It's very easy to slip. Because when someone is insulting you or talking behind your back or something like that, it's like impossible. You know what I mean? You need some kind of anchor. You know? You need some kind of anchor. So if you sincerely want to remove suffering from others, you have to learn how to confront your doubt. You know, doubt is the cause of suffering. You have to develop faith in the teachers, in the texts, in the lineage. You know? And in the knowledge, in your own wisdom of where things are coming from. You know? Anytime you think that something exists out there separate from you, that's doubt. That's doubt, you know? And just to quote Lama James, doubt is the thing that's causing suffering. It's the belief in functional things, objects separate from us. So, you know, some of us have been in this course for a while and taking it, and you know, meditating is difficult. And even maybe from the first moment, then you really see your mind is totally out of control if you're anything like me. Because what do I mean? You know, if you're anything like me, the mind is like totally out of control. It's a difficult thing to do, but this is a meditative path. Every single realization that you're going to have that's going to take you to your next step on your path to your ultimate evolution of Buddhahood and ending suffering for all beings is going to happen in a state of deep meditation. Okay? So, of course, it's your total right. You can stay on the hamster wheel. You can keep going round and round. Same problems yesterday, same problems today. Same problems today, same problems tomorrow. You know what I mean? Maybe even worse sometimes, you know? And that's, you know, that's your right, of course. But really, it's like saving money for your funeral. That's all it's like. You're just stacking cheddar to pay off your funeral expenses. You know? Almost there. You know, once you recognize that selfish thoughts are demons that are stealing your happiness away from you, then you're not going to hesitate. Okay? Then you're not going to hesitate. Then you're gonna want to know what the antidote is, and then when you find out what the antidote is, you're gonna plug it in. You know, you're gonna stick the dagger in. Okay? And you won't let time slip by. You won't let time slip by. I don't know who among us is gonna be gone first. Okay? I don't know who among us won't make it across the street tomorrow. That's how fragile this life is. Okay? Arya Nagarjuna saying, it's a miracle that when the air leaves your nose, it comes back in. You know, that's how fragile it is. And it's a common danger, like Nancy Love said. When things are good, then you get lazy, you know. But just because you're not angry right now, doesn't mean that the seeds for anger are not in your mind. Okay? And our mind is shifting moment to moment to moment. Take advantage. If you have a state of mind where you can utilize concentration, intelligence, balanced thought, you know, with no anger, no jealousy like this, use it for something virtuous, because you don't know what seeds are going to ripen next. Okay? You can't do these things with an angry state of mind. In fact, in our tradition, anger destroys thousands, heaps of virtue. Okay, so take advantage, you know. And there may be practitioners, you know, maybe we're the worst case. Maybe we're the worst case. You know, don't think because you got a new clique, you know, and then you got some way you represent it and identify yourself that gives you status among these people, that there's no demons. There's special demons for you. There's special It's true. It's true. So it's easy to pretend. We always want to put ourselves in a situation where we can stop looking at the truth. Okay? So when we accomplish those goals, then it's the truth of cessation. These seeds for suffering are gone. And then that vocabulary is gone. That vocabulary in your mind is gone. Goodbye. Never again. Okay? Now, if you're anything like me, those seeds are there. Those seeds are there. And this time is of the essence. That's why, wow, this is amazing. Here we are, creating virtue when it counts. You know? Then if we want to meditate so we can feel good, so we can get good concentration, what results will you get? You know, the motivation has to be I have to save other people. I have to save other people from suffering. What suffering? Ah, the suffering that I myself have experienced. Right? Compassion starts with you. Compassion starts with you. In order to save other beings from the suffering that they're undergoing, you have to reach complete enlightenment. You have to have deep realizations of wisdom. You have to fulfill your ultimate potential. You know? You have to increase your capacity. You know, Jetsun Kappa said, if thinking of your suffering doesn't move a single hair on your head, how will you ever develop great compassion? So maybe it's a common mistake that we think, oh, quickly go there. In Buddhism, we don't even call it compassion if it doesn't start with yourself. Because then you're not even recognizing what suffering is. Okay? So take your passion, take the passion that you have for the objects of the senses, right? And apply it to helping other people. You know? Like, ooh, that looks so good. Let's give it to somebody, you know? And then take your passion, you know, did I mix it up?
It's kind of good.
Oh, see, I mixed it up. Well, I'll leave it like that. What I was supposed to say, which I wrote down, is that take your passion for bringing yourself pleasure, and extend it to other people. And then take your passion for the objects of the senses and apply that to focusing on the object in your meditation. I think that's better. Okay?
Okay, so so we gotta remember what we learned in Bok Jinpa II. So for those of you who this is the first time you're gonna hear teachings from Bok Jinpa II, it might be a little bit like you're being bulldozed because it's intense. But let's do a quick review, okay? So course 2, if you took it, was like maybe for you like it was for me, the first time that you ever really got teachings on the fact that nothing does anything, right? Nothing in the outside world does anything. That things do not work the way I thought they did. And they were profound teachings. And we got many different ways of proving that to ourselves in meditation. And so let's go through the flow of how Master Kamala Shila presented it. Right, so first, Master Kamala Shila says, quotes from Lord Buddha. Right, so first you get scriptural authority. And first starts out with, Buddha said, pure truth, nothing starts. Right, and then he goes through all the beautiful quotes from Lord Buddha that say that sort of thing. And then he jumps right into the analysis. So he begins by saying, okay, so you think things are working out there in the outside world? Let's see how you think things are working. So he says, you believe that things cause other things, right? Out there, separate from you. So that's what we have to break down. The belief in functioning things. The belief that things are out there, separate from me, happening, right? And that's the root of all mental afflictions, right? It's the root of our death. So let's break it down. So he says, okay, first we'll look at, can things come from no cause at all? And Master Kamala Shila is really brilliant. He actually doesn't spend much time on this at all. He says maybe 2 proofs why things can't come from any cause at all. And it's interesting for us as Westerners because, and it's almost like exclusive to Western culture that we believe things can be random. I can't think of any other culture in history that believed that. You know, even like primitive cultures, they would say, well, it's a witch or it's evil spirits, you know. They never just said things can come from no cause at all. Well, we do that. We say, if I can't explain it, I'm going to call it random, right? That's our worldview. So Master Kamala Shila, does anyone remember what he says about no cause?
Flower could sprout out of your head.
Yeah. A flower could spread out of your head. And he says that. He says, things are intermittent. You don't see things cropping up everywhere all at once. If things were random, that would happen. Things would just crop up anywhere without any cause. No cause, right? I'd be talking to you and a flower would pop out of my forehead. You know? And it wouldn't be able to stop. Things would be happening all the time. And then he also says, if you can see a beginning of something, then it must have had a cause before it. Right? If you can designate a start, it had a cause. So then that's it. Enough. He moves on. He says it's just so illogical. We're moving on. And then he says, okay, so we erased no cause. What about, okay, if things are caused, then they have to be either unchanging causes or changing causes. Right? And that's a complete system. He's always brilliant. He always does this. He gives us a complete system of everything. And so when we analyze it, we've covered everything. And there's no room left for doubt. Right? So you either have unchanging causes or you have changing causes. So let's first look at unchanging causes. And right now in your mind you're thinking, what's an unchanging cause look like? Well, if you think about it in like when Master Kamal Shila's time, there was a school of thought, and this is still like in the yogic lineages. You know, you go to a yoga class, you'll hear someone say this unchanging cause theory, that there is, you know, that they would say, even though your body and your mind is always changing and the outside world is always changing, that there's a part of you that is eternal and unchanging. Right? Maybe you've heard this in your yoga class, and it's like, oh, it's a nice, comfortable thing to hear. You know? But if you look at it logically, you can break that down and it doesn't make any sense, right? And so what were the 4 proofs that Master Kamal Shila gave us to disprove unchanging cause? Anyone remember? You should know these like the back of your hand if you're going to be meditating on emptiness.
Performs a function? Is it the working thing changing?
No, that's good to know. Synonyms of a working thing.
Because if it interacts and it's and it changed, you can't have a cause. That's an oxymoron.
Yeah. Well, no, you're getting to it. So the first one was, he said, unchanging things wouldn't grow up gradually the way things do. Right? Because the end would already be there. Because it's unchanging. The end would already be there at the beginning. Its last moment would already be there at the beginning. And we don't see that. You know? So second one was, an unchanging cause would never be able to interact with a changing thing. Because interaction is a change. Right? So how could you apply that to that theory of like an unchanging eternal self that interacts? How could it interact with a changing body and mind? If it interacted with it, it would be a change. Right? It doesn't make any sense. So third one was, an unchanging cause would never be able to produce anything. You know, and then the fourth one was, if it produced anything, it would never be able to stop. So that would be a change. Right? Makes sense? So that's it. He just wipes out unchanging cause. So then you move on to, okay, no such thing as an unchanging cause. It has to be a changing cause. And this is what we believe anyway, right? We believe in changing causes. So then he separates changing cause into 2. Complete set, again. He says it has to be either simultaneous or sequential. So for example, simultaneous, yeah. So simultaneous would be like cause and result happening at the same time. And that's like 2 circles on top of each other. And then sequential is you first have your cause and then you have your result. No.
That's the middle one where like it overlaps.
We'll talk about that one anyway. Okay. So, no,
That's
1 and 3. Okay, sure. 1 and 3 is what we're talking about. First one. So he says, first let's look at simultaneous cause. So could I write you an email and you are reading the email as I'm writing it. Is that possible?
No.
No, so he knocks that out. He says, you first have to have the entire moment of a cause. You have to have the whole cause before you can have a result. You can't have overlap, because if you have overlap, then result is contained within the cause. And then they're indistinguishable. Right? That's the overlap, which is the same thing as saying simultaneous. Because even if you have overlap, the result is there while the cause is there. And there's no need for a cause, because then the result's already existing. Right? So to be able to distinguish a cause as a cause, it must be separate from the result. Do we all agree? Okay, great. So there must be a moment of time between cause and result, right? And this is what we believe anyway. We believe that that person insulted me and then I got upset. This is what we believe, right? We believe that I punch Ori in the cheek and then he feels the sensation. Have to have the whole first moment of the cause, okay? So let's analyze sequential. So, and this is a tricky one, okay? So if there's a moment of time between them, that means they don't touch. How can two things that never touch cause each other? And this is something that you have to sit with in meditation and look at. If there's a moment of time between two things, you can spread that moment of time out. If you analyze it and break it down, you'll never find the moment that they touch. You can open up that moment of time infinitely. You know, 12:59 never ever is going to touch 1 o'clock. Because it can be 12:59, like that clock in Union Square. It goes on till infinity. It never stops, right? So it's like that. When you analyze and you look in a deep state of meditation, you'll see that two moments of time that are separate from each other can never cause each other. One can never affect the other. Right? So sequential causes also don't exist. And this is like, you know, maybe you need to take that home. I kind of feel it in the room. Maybe you need to take that home and look at it in as still a place as you can. It's really like the key to killing all your mental afflictions. If you really understand that there is nothing out there separate from you doing anything, it's like room for everything to change. If nothing out there is functioning separate from you, then it's all coming from you. It's all coming from how you've treated others in the past. And the illusion does exist. You know, we never said it didn't exist. Never said you could walk outside in front of a bus and the bus isn't really there. The illusion exists, but it doesn't exist in any other way than as a projection caused by how you treated others in the past. And when you think it exists in any other way, that's the basic foundation for a mental affliction. No mental affliction can exist without that as its basis. Wisdom and mental affliction cannot exist in the mind at the same time. It's impossible.
So in the case of using these different analysis on reality and finding that an external reality separate from you can exist, and having realization of that in meditation, that's something that can be applied directly during your everyday life. So Bok Jinpa II, we were doing all the analysis, all explanation, very, very, very technical. And at a certain point, it always is going to feel amongst it all as a group that it's going into this realm of theory that's not actually practical. But what Nancy said is the absolute key, is that wisdom and a mental affliction which arises from misapprehending the objects in your world cannot exist in the same mind in the same moment. So all you do is take what's happening and put it under a microscope. Just prove one thing about it is wrong the way you're seeing it, you know? Prove that it's not coming from its own side. Prove that it's empty. Some way, some technical way. As you do it, that mental affliction or the potentiality of that mental affliction becoming a mental affliction attack is cut off. And magical, amazing, amazing, amazing things can happen. Especially with like somebody who they have a reputation. You know, oh, they're a jerk, or they always do something like this. And then if you apply this wisdom, and they're doing it to you right then, you know, and you apply this kind of wisdom, and you take away that jerkness from them, and you take away that they're victimizing you and they're putting you under this stress with some kind of analysis like this, weird things happen. You know, annoying people become like something amazing happens, and just trying it is the only way to see it. You know, they say, hey, we can teach you about karma and cause and effect, and you know, perception and the mind stream and the world, you know, the world is empty, you're empty, you know, the parts of you, blah blah blah. But if you don't test it, you'll never believe it, because how could you? Everything looks different than how it really is, right? So simultaneous cause doesn't make sense, and we believe that this causes that. You know what I mean? And like Nancy said, if things don't touch, how could they ever affect each other? You know. So one thing we went into in Bok Jinpa II was the past. You know, how is the past here now? You know, because that's how we're living our lives, you know, and we're doing all this action based on our idea of the past. So is the past here now? You know, does the past exist? And then we went into this. The past is a mental image in your present moment of consciousness. Now remember before when I asked, is the past here now? Remember that? And you thought of the past? Now, is the past here now? Alright? Are you remembering it the same as you were then? Is there any way to verify whatsoever that you're having the same mental image about what the past is? You see, your ideas now are coming from how you've treated others in the past. Period. You know? The past is an imagined idea, you know? And we allow it to control what we're doing and how we treat people and the kindnesses we grant to them. Oh yeah, at first I was really nice to him and I wanted to help him. Oh, but then he totally took how I helped him and he just totally put it under the bus. So now maybe I'm not going to help him as much because he doesn't deserve it as much. You know, that is going down. That's just walking voluntarily down, 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 down. You know? And what's more joyful than giving someone the room to change with wisdom and treating them with compassion, and then they rise to the occasion and do some beautiful dance for you. Right? Nothing's more beautiful than that. Nothing's more beautiful than that.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, it has. Lots of times. Oh, dance specifically? I meant like a divine dance, you know, play, you know. But it has. And in amazing ways, you know. So now at this point in Bok Jinpa, then Master Kama says, now that you've done the wisdom of contemplation, Now that you've done the analysis, now do the wisdom of meditation. Do the wisdom of meditation. So what is the wisdom of meditation? You know, this is when you've gone into your meditation session and you did your preliminaries, blah, 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 and then you took the object and you analyzed it from this way, from that way, from upside, from downside, right? And then you said, this thing is not separate from my perception of it, period. And then you're looking, is the first movement of it touching the second movement? And then, you know, let me get this and you're going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you find something really clean, you know, with not all these loose ends and not all these things, strings attaching to all these different ideas, and it's very, very, very pure, and you hold it. And you hold it. You know, and if you remember the quotation from the King of Concentration Sutra, if you bring something to mind repeatedly over and over again, that you are going to commune with that object directly. So this is what we're trying to do. You do the analysis, and you hold the object, and you just learn how to hold the object and enter into the wisdom of meditation. And what's special about the wisdom of meditation is that's when it's affecting you on that deep, deep, deep level, you know, where that level where the mental images are arising from, you know. So as they're rising to the surface, you know, you're affecting what's going to come up. What's going to come up. So instead of someone just yelling in your face and then you be blah, 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 and you go and you're all pissed off, then something clicks. They're yelling in your face and something clicks. And you just realize that they're here to help you. They're here to show you how to be patient. Something happens, and it's because of the work that you did with the wisdom of meditation. Right?
Want to take a break?
Great.
So during the break, we're gonna maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We're gonna hand her. Where's that sign-in sheet? Do I have it?
It's on the table.
Okay. He made a sign-in sheet. If you pre-registered, your name is on it, and then if you can just put a little check by your name. And if you're not on the list, if you're gonna stay, you can write your name and your email, and we can communicate with you. What else? Teddy in the back there in the green shirt was kind enough to make our binders. So. So if you want a binder, if you pre-registered, you have one, and if you didn't and you still want one, maybe there will be enough. And they're in that bag right there. And if you want to make a donation to Teddy, please feel free to do that.
I made 16 binders. If you want to make a donation for the binder, I thought it would be nice if we took the donation and then I took the donation that we made and then we offered it to Lama James and Lama Lisette's 3-year retreat.
Yeah.
They're the reason why this class is happening, and they've given us such a great blessing. And I think it'd be beautiful then for everyone here as a group to build a little bridge to their retreat while the class was happening, do that donation, and then after we make the donation, I'll send Nancy the receipt, and then we can all look at the receipt and rejoice in whatever we donate. So just know that if you do make a donation, that's where the money will go. So
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you so much.
So hopefully somebody we didn't bring anything, so hopefully there's water in the bathroom. I have chocolate, I can share this. I'm sure there's some kind of refreshment, and thank you.